بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome all of you wherever you are. I welcome you again with the program about the Quranic touch-ups. And today with Allah Azza wa Jal saying, after seeking refuge from the Shaitan Rajim, those who have their matters, we're going to build on them a masjid. Let's start then the ayah from the beginning. And that's how we made it on them, so they'll know Allah's promise is true. And the hour, there's no doubt about it, when they are disputing among themselves the matter of those, the people of the cave. So they said, build something on them. Allah knows about it. So those who are in charge, they said, we're going to build a masjid on them. Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us in this ayah, in this beautiful ayah, about the people of the cave. Those who Allah Azza wa Jal put them asleep over 309. And then He woke them up on the situation they were on. And then He led the people to know them because they want to buy some money. But they knew that Allah Azza wa Jal promised to resurrect people it's true. So they will have no doubt about Allah's capability or power of the day of judgment. And His promise will always, Allah will fulfill His promise. So Allah Azza wa Jal made an increase in the faith of the believers. And it is proof against the disbelievers. And Allah made the reward for this matter because Allah Azza wa Jal raised their status. And Allah made them great. So those who looked at their matter, they thought a lot of them. So the people of that time, they have doubt about the resurrection. They kept disputing this matter between themselves. Does Allah resurrect people after their death? Or we going to live and die and nothing will kill us except the time? A lot of people in the previous nations, they disputed the matter of resurrection. They claimed that they will not come back. But Allah, you are going to be resurrected again. And you're going to be told what you have done. That is easy on Allah. And those who disbelieve, they said, the hour will not come to us. Yes, it will come. The knowledgeable of the unseen, nothing overpower Him in the heavens or earth. Nothing smaller than that or bigger. It's all in a book that is written. Also Allah said, and they are asking you, is it really true? Say, yes, my Lord, it is true. And you're not going to overpower Allah. You're not going to supersede Allah. Some of the people of the ignorant time, they had doubted the resurrection. And one of their poets, they said, do I leave the liquor over some milk and water? No. This is all falsehood. This is imagination. So he's saying that these are all false talk. It's all falsified. All imagination. So people disputed at that time of the people of the cave about the resurrection. So Allah sending those guys to wake them up from their sleep as a firm for the believers and also a proof against those who deny. So when these people, they consulted with each other what they're going to do, they say that whenever he went to the cave, Allah had taken their lives. So when they were exposed and Allah took their lives, part of those who looked at their matter. Why don't you build on that cave a building and leave them to Allah the Almighty. But those who are in charge, the people who have the elite, who are uh, that are obeyed, we're going to build on in their place a masjid to worship Allah. And this is not by consultation. This is to oppress. This is not the saying of those who is looking what Allah and His Messenger said. No, they are just looking at their own opinion and they're forcing it on people. Allah Azza wa Jal has forbidden us, as the Prophet ﷺ said, not to build any masjid on the graves or the cemetery of the deceased. Just like He forbid to build on the grave itself or to write on it, is from the extreme that could lead to us worship. And the extreme with the righteous people is what led people to worship idols and to put partners with Allah. So we go beyond that after that with the ayah, how those who said that we're going to build a masjid, they're not following a guidance. That was the people of power, and that was their opinion, and that's what they wanted. Allah did not thank them for what they did. He did not admit what they did. And even if it is allowed at that time, it was very clear forbidden in our religion to take the graves as masjid, and the proofs are abundant. We'll talk about some of them, so it will be a lesson for those who want to contemplate. And before we bring those evidence, I want to remember what Sheikh Al-Azhar Tantawi said in his the will, when he explained this ayah. When they found the people of the cave, some of them, they said, build something to cover the cave so it will cover them. But those who have the elite, who are in charge, they said, no, we're going to build a masjid. And then Al-Lusi said, and he used that ayah, that one of them, he said that it is allowed to build the masjid on the righteous people and to pray there. And Al-Shahab Al-Khafaji, he also mentioned that. It is a bad opinion. That's what the Sheikh Al-Azhar said. That this opinion is corrupted, falsehood. Then he brought the evidence on why. To see the Prophet ﷺ cursing the people who use the graves as a masjid. And the two sheikhs written about that Abu Huraira, Allah curse the Jews and the Christians. They used to take the graves of their prophets as masjids. And there are so many other hadith in this. That's all in the authenticated hadith. So to build the masjid on the deceased is not only Islam, or in the Prophet ﷺ saying by himself. It says also the previous prophets, Isa and Musa, may Allah have peace on them, best of but with dirt of the ignorance of their followers. So I'll bring you some of the evidence that is very straightforward, that it is forbidden to take masjid. From Aisha and Abdullah ibn Abbas, who said, when it was descended on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so when he covered his face, he said, may Allah curse the Jews and Christians. They've taken the graves of their prophets as a masjid. And he warned people from doing what they are doing. And also what Aisha said, that the Prophet ﷺ said, and he said, if it was that you also it, Aisha said that Habiba, they mentioned a church they've seen in Habasha that has a lot of statues. So they mentioned that to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, these, if they have the righteous person and died, they build on his grave a masjid, and they put all these pictures and idols. These are the worst people with Allah at the Day of Judgment. Also, the hadith of Jundub of Abdullah, who said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying, before his death by 5, he was saying, he said, I am free from Allah that He will choose from you as a friend. And if I was to take someone as a Khalil, I would have taken Abu Bakr as a Bakr. I forbid you from that. And also what Allah said, oh Allah, don't make my grave a place that they worship beside you. The hadith is very clear that it forbids to build a masjid on top of the grave. What about what it was said that they did not like to, and this is talking about the janazah prayer, not the da'wat. Also, there's the hadith. There's a black woman that used to take care of the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ met her one day, and he asked, they told him she died. He said, don't you ask my permission? As if they had belittled her. He said, show me her grave. So they did. So he went and prayed Salat al-Janazah. And he said, these graves are full of darkness, honest people. And Allah Azza wa Jal will enlighten it. The other hadith, the Prophet ﷺ finished to a grave and he prayed on it. And they and the prayer that he alayhi salatu wasalam did is the janazah, not the regular prayer. There is no ruku' sujood in the janazah. And Al-Bukhari has narrated that Umar ibn al-Khattab, he saw Anas ibn Malik pray by grave. He said, the grave, as if he's warning him about it. The last issue, what about the doubtful part, those who are wrong? They use this ayah as we seen, and we have seen how what they used as the answer from the scholars. But they also used that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that his land, it used to be a cemetery, and they cut the trees and they straightened the area. It became a good place. It was good to build the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ, when he went to Al-Madinah and he ordered to build the masjid, and he said, the son of Najjar, give us money for the area. They said, we'll not ask except from Allah. So Anas, it used to be the graves of the disbelievers and palm trees. So he ordered the graves to be taken out and the trees to be cut, and no one has anything in that area. Also, the normal traditional one, that the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ include his grave and his two companions, Abu Bakr and Umar. And that was during the centuries with all the Ummah. Does not that indicate that it is allowed? The answer, the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they were not buried in the masjid. Our Prophet ﷺ was buried in his house, in the house of Aisha, and then his two companions. Aisha's was not, her place is not inside the masjid. And all the wives of the Prophet, they were from the east part of the masjid. And the Qibla was not inside the masjid. He used to get out from the house to the masjid. But during Al-Walid ibn Abd al-Malik, and he used to love to build the masajid, that he ordered his Umar ibn al-Aziz to buy the rooms from his, the inheritance, to add it to the masjid, and enter that after all the companions died, and none of them was still alive. So there is no evidence in that. Also, Allah answered the supplication of the Prophet ﷺ that his grave is not a place where people are worshipped. And if you look at the building, there's things to prevent you from worshiping the grave. But the doubtful thing that is still there, and they keep always put it everywhere. They say that the grave of Abu Basir was built a masjid. They're saying after Abu Basir killed one of the two men who took him from the Prophet ﷺ, and he went to the beach and he started attacking the Quraysh. And they had a group on the beach that they were attacking the people of Quraysh. And everybody who embraced Islam, they used to go with them until they became a big group. So every time they hear of any camels goes to Quraysh, they will take their money and they attack that carnival. So Quraysh, they went to the Prophet ﷺ to stop them from them. So he alayhi salatu read to Abu Jandal and Abu Basir ordered them to come to him, and all the Muslims who followed him to come to their countries and not to attack the carnival of the caravan of Quraysh. So by the time it reached them, as it's claimed, Abu Jandal and Abu Basir was dying, and he died. And he's reading that, so he buried him in his place, and he made a masjid next to him. That's what Ibn Asakir said in the history of Dimashq from Al-Bayhaqi and Al-Khatib Al-Baghdadi. And he said, and he made next to his grave a masjid. So it came, he made with next, not in. The grave is not in the masjid, but next to. And there is something different between too close to his grave, a masjid, or the grave in it. So they take the statements that are equal to what is certain, and they all said around his grave, not on his grave. And the Sheikh has mentioned all the scholars who said that. Maybe this narration is wrong, and if it is looked at, they will find the truth. And the difference is big between to say on his grave and when we say by his grave. What is forbidden is to build the masjid on the grave, not next to it. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he cursed those who use the masjid on the grave. And the Prophet ﷺ, they are close to his masjid, so their closeness to it does not harm. What is forbidden, that to make it in the masjid. He alayhi salatu wasalam cursed the one who does that. And any talk before for Abi Habiba and Salama, when they mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ about the church Halashi, he said, if they have the righteous person when he dies, they are the worst people with Allah Azza wa Jalla at the day of judgment. So in summary, nothing is proven from any of these narrations that he alayhi salatu wasalam or Abu Basir there was a masjid built on his grave, but next to his grave. And this is the Muslim Kitab. So if it was not proved to begin with, how you return back the things that are very clear with something historical does not proven. We'll come to the conclusion of this. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.